When I first heard about Booksmart, having not seen the trailer nor read about it actively online, I hadn't felt so excited to watch a movie about bookworms practically since Matilda as a child. Though the movie ended up not being as much about that. Molly and Amy are exemplary high school students, at least as far as their work ethic goes, who had completely devoted the past 4 years to their studies in order to secure their places in prestigious American universities. This is all well and good until Molly realizes that the people she thought didn't take school seriously in truth managed to keep up their grades while also having fun. Feeling as though they missed out and seeing an opportunity to leave a lasting impression with the cool kids, Molly coerces Amy into attending School Vice President Nick's party the night before graduation. As expected, shenanigans pop up at every corner of their nightly excursion to the party. This movie made me realize just how detached I am from the teenagers of today, and quite possibly many other younger people. Because to me, it seems incredibly uneven in its storytelling. When it comes to themes, I thought that the friendship angle was great, but the talks were a little much. I understand that it's important for young women, especially those of us in the LGBTQIP2SAA community, to find empowerment in every resource available to them, in this case, entertainment media. But I, for once, would like to experience a mainstream, queer-led narrative that doesn't revolve around sensuality. This isn't because I think it's an unnecessary topic to explore, but because it seems synonymous with the community when we know that that's not all there is to it. People who aren't straight or cisgender are regular people too, and sensuality certainly isn't all that they care about. With such a strong focus on it in mainstream media, that's, unfortunately, the impression it's probably going to give. If we're to normalize the community, it'd be more beneficial to start introducing narratives whereby characters take on many different roles, whether ordinary or otherworldly, and sensual, or really even romantic pursuits aren't always center stage. We see it in lesser-known stories, but it's time to make that transition to the norm. Had that theme been reduced or virtually cut, more time could have been devoted to the relationship between Amy and Molly, as well as their relationship with their classmates. I didn't feel as though the girls' major disagreement was built up effectively, as Amy made no clear indication throughout the film that she honestly had a serious issue with Molly's attitude. And Molly never seemed too annoyed with Amy's shortcomings. I don't want to immediately chalk it up to the acting. I do actually like these actresses. Maybe it's a directorial thing. That being said, the fact that they understood each other well enough to be able to bury the hatchet that quickly proved the strength of their bond. I also like that the girls, particularly Molly, had to take the time to learn what these people are really like outside of their preconceived notions of teenagehood. Bookworms are usually presented as the ones who can do no wrong, so it's refreshing and validating to see them in situations that feel more human. What's also unique here is that there were no hard feelings between anyone involved. Other teen movies would have had the character realize who their true friends are and ditch the supposed bad apples. But here, the resolution was more nuanced and true to real life. Even if some people aren't who you expected them to be, it doesn't necessarily make them bad or unworthy of your time. And that idea was well portrayed in the film. Not everyone is meant to be your best friend, but you can still be supportive and leave an impression that's uplifting. And of course, It feels so good to be so wrong about people you previously had a negative or dismissive opinion of. You learn a lot about yourself and others, growing all the while. That still doesn't mean the girls had to go all out and lose themselves in the process just to figure all that out, however. Namely Amy. Nobody should ever have to sacrifice their own morals and interests for the sake of conformity. It's okay to want to give people a chance and have an open mind, but never at the expense of one's safety and dignity. I wouldn't have even minded if the entire film was about the girls getting into a couple shenanigans, realizing it's not for them, and going back to comfortably being themselves. Although, that sounds more like a Studio Ghibli thing, to be honest. When it's all said and done, I did enjoy our leads for their endless compliments and silly moments. And their one teacher, Mrs. Fine, was an absolute trooper who I wish shared more screen time with the girls. For what we got, there is a lot here worth checking out. Whether or not you prefer the raunchier side of things, and regardless of how you feel about the rumors surrounding director Olivia Wilde. As for a final note, I must once again emphasize that I feel as though I'm out of touch with teens and younger adults than me. I think it's ultimately a generational thing, and I'm sorry if that puts a damper on this review for any of you. In my time, at least from my perspective, you had people here and there who might have confided in their friends about how they felt and eventually made things known, but it wasn't a major topic among students. This isn't to say I'm not glad this has changed. As a matter of fact, I very much want the community to be normalized, especially in our media portrayals. Hence why I believe we should have more stories where it's just people living their lives, doing different things, and we're letting it all speak for itself. On the one hand, it's cool that youth can relate to the more sensual or romance-heavy stories like this one. But on the other hand, I just don't think it's always necessary to have an abundance of them when people are more than that.